Hello everyone. Oh, it helps when I actually have my Bluetooth headset on. Let's change this a little bit. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Is that right? If anyone could put something in the chat, it'll make a little bloop, and I should be able to hear. I think Ecamm Live passes it through to Bose, but I'm not sure if this should say Bose or not, so we're going to find out. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay, first of all. Yo, okay, I heard the blip. I think we're good. Cool. Thank you, Haas. Cool. Hey, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever it is. Cool. All right, let's go to Blueprint. If I can type, holy crap. There we go. All right, let's do a git fetch origin. Give that a second, and then git checkout L9 compatibility. Cool. Okay, so let's go talk about this for just a sec. I fired up this PR the other day from Shift. This is actually something I'm trying to do for about 300 of the Laravel packages. In fairness, Spassy probably accounts for about 60 of those, and they've already done this on their own manually. I have no idea why, because I actually originally built this for Frake. But you know, it's been like 15 months, so I'm sure he just forgot. Anyway, it basically automatically bumps the dependencies and updates GitHub Actions. I actually noticed a few small issues with it, so I'm working on those before I run it for the rest of the packages that we kind of track with Shift. So I've got the dependencies all running now, and the issue is, to Ghostwriter's point here, that because we're using a static constructor, this actually doesn't get regenerated during the test lifecycle because it's shared in the top level of the test. Sorry about that. My I don't know if you can hear that, but my daughter's not asleep yet. She's having a lot of fun with mom up there. Hey Mohammed, how's it going? Pakistan. Wow, that's a long way away. Anyway, the point here is that the PHP 8 build is passing, just not the 8.1, because I do believe that they changed a little bit of how the static handling worked. So I'm not going to worry too much about PHP 8.1 right now. I'll get that running probably off stream based on some of this stuff to the static call cached here. Makes sense to me why that's not working, given the kind of memoization I'm doing there. So, but again, 8's working, so we will use this as kind of a benchmark of having all the tests pass and so forth. So what I want to do is kind of just get in this code base and start adding, or start kind of adopting as many things as possible. First starting with PHP 8, and if we have time, you know, probably getting into things with Laravel 9, anonymous migrations is an example kind of off the top of my head. So let's start making Blueprint do these fun things. So when this is merged, it's all PHP 8 and it's all Laravel 9. So the first thing, let's just bring up the workbench, and let's bring up Docker, because the workbench is going to need Docker in the background. And something, you know, that kind of quickly comes to mind is, of course, like short closures, or I think there's closure arrow functions is what they call them. Yeah. So I'd like to attempt to adopt these in as many places as possible. So we'll kind of start here. This is kind of the big one. Even though we did support 7.4, the current version, if we just bounce back to the code, actually supports 7.3 to be compliant, going all the way back with, I guess, Laravel 8 still supports PHP 7.3 technically. So we can't use the arrow functions, or commonly known as the short closures, until we adopted PHP 8, or 7.4 at least specifically. So now that we're jumping all the way to PHP 8, we can definitely adopt these, which were introduced in 7.4. So this is kind of the first thing I want to run. So I'm just going to use the workbench to kind of automate some of these pieces, and then we'll actually bring up the code to kind of do the rest. So we're going to run this on Blueprint, of course. Looks like Docker is running, although it's got some kind of exclamation point there. I don't know what's wrong, but we'll assume that it's all good, and we'll try to run this. So there should already be a Docker image running in the background. I'm already on the right branch. It's going to look in source and tests. That sounds good. Again, it's just a package, so there's no app directory or anything of that nature. And let's see if this actually works. The reason I say let's see if this actually works is a couple of these tasks, especially the free tasks, are actually powered underneath by some of the Rector PHP library. We add some additional stuff and kind of put them together in special ways, but for the most part, it's run underneath with Rector. So we can see here, unfortunately, that Rector failed. So that's kind of the point. That's why I say hopefully. Rector seems to fail a lot, despite our efforts to make it run pretty fancily. So let's see if we got any output. We did get some output, so let's see what it did here. Git diff-w. Okay, so it definitely worked a little bit. I'm not sure which exact file it broke on. This is something that we're trying to clean up a little bit better, but it did seem to do a lot of these. So I think what I'm going to do is let's review a couple of these, just kind of like running git diff-w, and what I'll do is I'll commit this and then maybe I'll run it again and see if it gets a little farther. So, but basically what we're doing here is the arrow functions. This is a nice little PHP 7.4 thing, so we can definitely, again, adopt this. But instead of any of these simple closures that just returned an expression, that expression can now be collapsed into the new kind of arrow function. So if we just kind of go down the list here, we should just see an infinite number of these. So yeah, even these bindings actually just return an expression, in this case the new binding, so that's pretty cool. We can shorten up some collection pipelines. I really like to see those. Function val, just quoting the val, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I feel pretty good about these. So I think I'm gonna quit out of this and just say git add -u, git commit -m, because we'll have our test case or our CI tool, GitHub Actions, run in the background. So let's say adopt arrow functions. All right, before I push that though, I am gonna try to run this one more time, just to see if it picked up anything else since it did fail. So let's check that out. And while that's running, I'm going to check the chat. So I think what we could do next, let's see if there's any opportunities to use the match statement, switch to match. So just kind of run this one too. In fact, to that point, we could really just look at anything PHP 8. We got switch to match, we got property commotion, we got NullSafe operator we could check out. String functions, we won't go so far as to do read-only properties because of course we don't want to just be PHP 8.1. So let's see what we got back in the task log. It's still running. And this might be Docker being lame. So let's see what Docker's saying over here. Oh, okay. What's Docker saying? Still analyzing project. We'll give it another 20 seconds or so. I think we saw this in one of my previous streams where like my current version of Docker just seems to really get stuck. Yeah, there's no changes just yet. I'm gonna give this just another minute. While it's doing that, let's fire up PHP Storm and let's bring up the project. And I might just kind of like search for function and see, you know, are those not collapsible? I just want to, this is a good way for me to test the workbench. I'm going to go ahead and restart Docker. It does not seem to be working. Where is Blueprint? There it is, Blueprint. Let me know in the chat if you all can think of any additional PHP 8 type things we might be able to do. That's cool. Otherwise, we'll move on to some of the Laravel 9 features like anonymous migrations. So I think what I want to do is just search the source folder. And let's search for function. And it would have to be that. I'm just kind of curious. It's only 19 files. Let's see. This could actually get collapsed, but I could see why it didn't get picked up. It's not a straight return statement. It would need to be collapsed and then returned. So that could actually get picked up. That's kind of nice. Let's see what else we got. That one's definitely multi-line. That makes sense. That's an if statement. Collection pipeline. You could probably collapse this even though it's not returning anything, because it kind of just doesn't matter. So that's one we could do manually. Same thing with those. So yeah, there's a couple of these that could probably be collapsed ourselves. Yeah, these output ones, I might go ahead and do something like that, like by hand. So I think that's pretty good. What else do we have? I think the rest of these are actually, what's this? Oh, that's pretty large. Return string. You could tighten that up, but I don't think I want to. This one's already tightened up. Yeah. Okay, so we might go back and do a few of those manually, but let's give Docker one more chance here with the arrow functions. Or sorry, arrow functions. There they are. Let's run this one more time. It makes sense to me that it's not finding anything else, although it didn't make sense to me why it originally crashed. So we'll give this one more chance to run and fail, and I think it's processing now. So yeah, again, it's just Docker. It's not necessarily the workbench being the one that's crashing. I think Docker's just like freezing up. Let's give that a second to run, see if it picks anything else up. I'd be surprised if it got this, because it's kind of a multi-line statement, even though as humans we can see that, you know, oh, I see, it's actually a concatenation. That's why it didn't collapse it. So we won't be able to collapse those. So I don't think there's anything more to do with these arrow functions now. Let's go ahead and move on to the switch to match. See if that's an option. Yeah, see, it ran successfully that time. It's kind of strange. Anyway, let's run. I don't think we have any changes. GST, no changes. All good there. I think my window got moved over. Let's run switch to match, and then I'm hearing some stuff in the chat. Let's just run this straight away. I'll check the chat while this is going. Off topic, how's the GitHub screenshot automation project going? Yeah, so last week Jess did a live stream on, or might have been 2 weeks ago now, but we're basically trying to build like some automated screenshots. So while this is attempting to run in the background, it looks like, again, Docker is not liking us, so I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna restart it. We'll let this fail. And then while it's rerunning, I will come back to your question about the screenshots. All right, let's let Docker restart. We'll run this again as soon as that's restarted. And in the background, let's go ahead and push origin head. Let's go ahead and push those up. We'll let CI run, make sure all that looks good since I didn't really run the test locally. And as soon as Docker wants to come back to life, I wonder if that little exclamation point has anything to do with anything, but whatever. Let's try to let this run one more time. So annoying when the tools don't work. Anyway, if we go to Laravel Shift, we have all these screenshots when you go into these automated shifts, and it's kind of funny because like basically the GitHub UI is changed over the years. So like some of these, you know, are the new one. I've redone them, but basically I go in and I take a screenshot like of this image, you know, all the time. So like if we open it in a new tab, we can see like this is kind of a full screenshot of an actual PR that we've run. In this case, probably against like LaravelShift.com or something. And I'm always taking these screenshots. So what Jess started doing was, or what we were working on, and I think Jess is taking the opportunity to do some of her own live streams now, is she's actually recreating this in Tailwind, and we're bringing these over from like our commit log, so they match, and then basically like generating this screen programmatically. And then I think she's going to use Spassy's browser shot package to screenshot, this image, and we'll actually be able to kind of generate these automatically, but consistently, where they're spaced and sized and UI is the same and all that kind of stuff. So I think she's doing a 3-part live stream. She already did the first part where she kind of created this in Tailwind, and I think early next week she's going to do the one with like the browser shot package, where she's going to try to pop this up, take a screenshot, bring it down, whatever. And then maybe even in part 3, do something where she automates a PR to kind of send these up to LaravelShift.com, so we get the latest images here. So pretty cool little feature. Again, more automation for automation, so that's nice and fun. So okay, let's see if this ran switch to match. It claims that it did, so let's do a GST, and looks, hey, we got a few here, so let's do a git diff-w. Oh yeah, I like that. Look at that. So this now, instead of switching and returning, it got inverted to a return match on action, and if it's store, then it's post, if it's update, it's put, if it's destroy, it's delete. Default is git. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Same thing here. We basically had all these switch and breaks where we just assign something to a statement. So now it's effectively, what did this do here? How is that the same? Oh, it's assigning it to statements. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I kind of forgot you could assign the result of match. So yeah, all of these assigned a statement by calling some kind of analysis method or analyze method. So yeah, look, it paired all those up, and it even like collapsed these. That's a pretty tight syntax. That's pretty cool. So I like this. Let's do this. And we'll just kind of go back and again check our work here. So let's just look for anywhere we have a switch statement. And there are actually no more, according to this, there are no more switch statements within. Of course, there's some in the project, but there's no more in the source directory. Let's check tests. I doubt there's any in test. So yeah, those were the only 2 switch statements we had. So git commit, or sorry, git add -u, now that we've kind of reviewed those manually, git commit -m, convert switch to match, git push origin head. Let's get, oh, something happened. Git open. Looks like I might have had some automation run in the background. Ooh. Okay, so there were some style fixes that came across. Probably those short closures are supposed to have a space, I bet. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's another thing I'd like to do if we have time, is drop in kind of the Laravel code style and bring this in here, so I can kind of be able to do that locally and don't have to necessarily rely on style CI. But let's do a git pull -r and hope we don't have any conflicts, and we don't. So now we can do a git push origin head. And we did have some failures though, so let's go take a look at this. Oh wow, we got a lot of failures. What's the problem here? Let me close the chat for a second. I don't have enough screen real estate. Invalid method count. File system should be called. So converting to short closures definitely messed up our runtime's PHP 8. Got a lot of exceptions here. So we may need to run these tests locally. Let's keep hacking though, because I do like these refactors. Let's see if there's anything else we can do just real quick. Let's try the NullSafe operator. I like that one. Let's see if there's any opportunities to do this, and if Docker behaves well. And then I think we'll stop there with these refactors. I think we get the idea. I'm really just going down the list of the workbench and running, you know, things here. I don't necessarily care too much about property promotion. I don't think I'll change that. I might run the string functions because I do know we use a lot of string functions. So let's run these two. We'll stop there. And then let's take a quick look at the anonymous migration stuff. And again, since the tests we're passing to begin with, we're armed with tests, I'm not going to worry too much about getting those to pass. I know I can do that off stream. So let's just keep with the changes here. I need to fix 8.1 anyway. Did this run? Analyzing project. All right, Docker, we're not waiting on you anymore. We're going to do a restart all the time. Every time restart. Let's look at those anonymous migrations in the background here. Do I have that as a configuration option? Let's see. What's Blueprint's config here? Anonymous, there is not an anonymous migrations option here. So I kind of just want to, I think I just want to do that by default now. Or maybe this change was already made. Let's go look at the migration generator and one of the migration stubs. No, it's still a class. It's still a class. So I think what I want to do is adopt anonymous migrations. And while that's running, let's try to rerun this one more time in the background. Let's do the string functions one instead. And let's go take a peek at anonymous migrations so we're all on the same page. Anonymous migrations, Laravel. I think Laravel News has a good post on it. Yeah. So basically, instead of kind of naming your stuff all the time and naming your migrations, and of course you always run into a conflict over a long enough timeline because you're like, oh, add, you know, property or whatever to this table, right? Like add column to users. Like, of course, that's not going to be a, you know, a non-trivial name. So basically, instead, what we can do here is say return new class, get rid of that placeholder, extend migration, and oh, good, Docker decided to run that time. And we'll bring everything up in line, and then the semicolon at the end is critical because this is technically an expression instead of a class definition. So that will fix our stub, which will in turn cause all of our tests to fail. So I'm not going to commit that just yet. Let's see if there are any changes. So cool, we got str pause not equal to false, so now we can use string contains. I like that. Same thing here, str pause not equal to false. Instead, we can say string contains. So we'll say yes to that, no to that. And we'll do a git commit -m adopt native PHP 8 string functions. Cool. I'm sure we can do that more, but again, this is all just a step in the right direction. Okay, I'm going to tempt fate and try to run that NullSafe operator one more time. Okay, let's check out the chat, and then let's see what kind of tests are failing. I'll spend just 5 or 10 minutes fuddling with those. I'm not going to spend too much time. First concepts looks really good. Oh, cool. Yeah. I think it'll be cool to see that automation again. Any Shift is like, you know, kind of as a application. There's not much I'm adding to it. So now it's really like just kind of optimizing the workflow as much as possible. Gershon, or oh wait, no, we got it right last time. Gerchan? Yeah, I think that was right. Gerchan. Anyway, Blueprint makes it easy to do. Yeah. Blueprint is pretty sweet. I've actually, I'm not doing new projects very often, but when I do, I definitely use Blueprint to give me that start. Looks like Docker's being a jerk again. While Docker's being a jerk and restarting, I'm going to go down to the migration fixtures and start fixing all of these. So let's do this. let's do kind of an extended replace here of any kind of /w plus, rock that off. Let me find all those, and we're going to replace those with return new class extends migration space one of those. Cool. Let's replace all. There we go. Nice. Okay, so it cleaned those up, and the hard part now is going to be adding the semicolon to the end of these. How could I do that? I could do it. I could do it by anchoring where the only thing on the line was that. I think that'll do it. Yeah. And then let's replace it with that. And then let's see if all this red goes away. And it did. Okay, cool. So my test fixtures and my stub are now using anonymous migrations. So if we're lucky, that's all that needed to change, because the code really is no different. It just replaced placeholders from the stub. In this case, it's no longer replacing the class name. Now, you may have class names somewhere else inside of here. I don't know why, but you might. So I'm not going to necessarily change the code to remove that. Okay. Oh yeah, we restarted Docker. Let's try this NullSafe one last time. And while we're doing that, so these are all the migration changes. I'm gonna wait on that because I don't know. I'm being a little bit of a Git purist here, but I wanna do all my Git PHP 8 changes in Git commits first, and then do the anonymous migrations, and then basically I'll make all the tests pass at the very end. I like doing it that way. Some people will kind of make the tests fail first and then make it pass with the new stuff. Your code and your tests create kind of a harmonious relationship. So right now I'm kind of breaking all of the tests by making the code the way I want. So I'm working a little backwards, but it makes sense to me as long as I'm only changing one side of that equation, right? One side of that balance. So right now I'm changing all the code, then I'm going to change all the tests, because I know to start with, everything was in a harmonious place. So if I only change one side and then I go change the other, I should be able to get back to that place. If you start changing things on both sides at the same time, to me it feels a little more messy. You're just doing too much. So I feel like you kind of do something to one side. Same in math, you do something to one side and then you kind of do the exact same operation to the other side, right? You kind of carry it over back and forth. I'm just doing the same thing. Okay, doesn't seem like NullSafe wants to play nice here, so I am going to restart Docker, but I'm going to close the workbench. I'm not too worried about the NullSafe stuff. I just don't think we have too many objects inside of this. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and do a git add -u on this, git commit -m, adopt anonymous migrations. Okay, and now let's bring up the Shift runner. Let's bring up the Shift runner and Shift, that's not it. I'll just rewrite this myself. So let's do that. Let's do a -it. Let's do --entry point is bin sh, and that'll be the Shift runner. Okay, so first things first, let's run composer update just to make sure we have, what is this about? No. I don't know why I have composer package versions deprecated, but whatever. I just want to make sure we have all the latest code here when I'm just going to start running the test. I'm not going to, again, the goal here is not to get everything passing. I'm going to go for like 5 more minutes. We'll just kind of try to fix up, see what all is failing. I'm sure whatever's failing is all for the same reason. So let's see if we can just time box this to 5 minutes and see if we can get these tests passing again. And if not, I'll do it off stream because I don't think there's much value here. And like I said, I want to start weaning these down to 20, 30 minutes. Who's gonna watch an hour-long stream? I mean, come on. So vendor, bin, PHP unit. Let's just see all these run. It's possible. No, okay. I was gonna say it's possible they do run, and maybe I need to tweak my workflow in CI, but we're getting some failures here. What'll be interesting to me though is, do we get those migration failures? It seems like we are, because this feels like more than what I was getting in CI, but. Okay, test method put post controller. Okay, so these are probably just scenarios where they don't match. I think what I want to do real quick, let's see if the migration tests, yeah, let me run this. I want to see if all these pass, because I kind of feel like they should. It looks like they are. Yeah, these absolutely should, because again, there really was there's no change. It's just input and output. That's kind of one of the nice things about PHP Storm's indexing. That's kind of one of the nice things about Blueprint, is there's not a whole lot to change in the core. It's really more about, again, the generation of the code, and because of the way I've set up the kind of the test fixtures and like the stub approach, much like Laravel does with its artisan make commands, there's really never a whole lot I need to change in the code unless there's a bug. And at this point, there's not too many bugs, to be honest. Like, it's more about people maybe just not understanding how to use it, or just an area that I'm not trying to solve. Real quick, I just want to see, I want to drop this line where we're replacing class and see if all these still pass. Because again, this is kind of an unnecessary line. You're probably not going to give it a class name, but I'm going to leave it for now. It's kind of legacy code to have to pull this out, but I don't know. Maybe somebody already updated their stubs. They've published their stubs. I don't necessarily want to break migrations for them, so I am going to leave this in here. And that actually would be a good test case. So I think everything else relates to the issue regarding some of the refactors we did. So my guess is one of those short closures maybe couldn't be done. It's kind of hard to say. So let's see where one of them was failing though. I'm not going to worry about the test generator one. That seems pretty dense. Let's go back to like route generator and see if we can, let's see if we can diagnose what the problem is, at least here in the last 2 minutes or so. So let's copy that, and let's do, let's run just this test. Okay, so method append accept. Okay, so let's output generates routes for mixed resources. Output generates API. Whoa, output it generates API resources. Let's take a look. Output generates web resources. Forgot to turn off my notifications here. Like I said, my daughter didn't want to go to sleep, it sounds like. Okay, let's see what's happening inside of here. I'm gonna var dump these tokens. I just want to try to figure out, is it a short closure broken like up where things are parsing, or is it broken in the generation? If we can figure that out, then I'll solve it off stream. But let's see if we can figure that out together real fast. Whoa. I think this tree's not gonna be happy. Let's just do tokens. Tokens is pretty bad too. Oh, I'm running the whole file. Sorry. Let's filter just this. Wow, that tree really shouldn't be that crazy. Oh, it's a data provider, that's why. Ugh. This one's just a test. Let's do this. All right, let's bring this down here. Okay. So it's definitely parsing things right. We got model, certificate, string ID, text nullable. It's an API resource. All that seems pretty good. So let's take a look at tree next. And let's see what's going on with this tree. So it didn't find any models. That's kind of interesting. But it is generating statements for update and show. So that does seem, the tree seems legit other than the models. But it's possible that the route generator doesn't necessarily hydrate the models. Not all of the generators do, they just don't need to. So I think it now has to do more with what's getting output. So let's see where we actually, do something. Here we go, definitions. Let's see what's going on here. Or let's var dump these definitions. Okay, so we've got route API resource certificate. That looks pretty good. What is it trying to match? File system file should be called exactly 1 times, called 0 times. Method append route API resource certificate class. Okay, so it is attempting to append it correctly. It's just not getting called, which is strange because I'm here. Where's fly system come from? Or file system comes from abstract generator. That should get injected, which it does. Huh, this is a little hairier. This seems a little hairier than I thought. It's still a little funky to me though why moving to short closures would have caused an issue here. Because there actually are no short closures in this at all. So was that kind of a red herring? Let's see here. When was I passing? When were the tests passing? What's this? So build was actually passing back here and allowed dev dependencies. And then supposedly short arrow functions, everything quit. So it was something here. Let's just review these instead of trying to look at the tests. There's a lot, but let's just take a quick scroll. So matches, that should be fine. Which one of these? The only thing I could think is maybe these bindings are wrong. But just from a PHP perspective, those shouldn't be a problem. Return val, all that should be good. Function column, not an array yet. Ooh, this one's kind of hairy, look at that. Migration, well, all the migrations ran, so it wasn't that. Yeah, that's kind of the clue. It's something specific to something higher up because all of our migration generator ran. So it's something to do with like the way in which some of these other generators do stuff. So like the test generator was one that was broken, the controller generator was one that was broken, and I think obviously the route generator. So it's something specific to the way in which those work, and they all extend that. So I'll figure out what that was off stream. I don't think it's worth banging the head against the wall. I think we had a pretty successful kind of adoption of a couple new features here, which I think is pretty sweet. So I think now it's a matter of kind of getting PHP 8 happy again, because it was happy before according to this. So it definitely was something in these arrow functions that I broke. So I might just like try to find the common denominator between those few classes that are failing, the few generators that are failing, and see what it was, because it's probably something higher up in this tree. It's just a little funny because, again, fn, there's kind of only this one in here in the tree, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll figure it out and let you know. So anyway, I will live stream again tomorrow. This time I'm actually going to work on that Laravel 9 feature to default order by. We'll see if it gets merged in, but that'll be the focus tomorrow. This is kind of it for today on Blueprint for now. I think in the future I'll do some for squashing bugs. But again, I'll solve this, get it all green, and wait to merge this once Laravel 9's released. Hopefully, February 8th for Laracon. So anyway, hopefully I'll see some of y'all tomorrow.